Hello everyone, I'm Dennis Burns from Woodsongs. Welcome to our third video lesson in our series called Musicianship. See, I nailed the word musicianship today. And the reason is I noticed when you say the word musician and then you think of a ship, like a ship at sea, so a boat with a bunch of musicians on it, it's very easy for me to say it. But if I think of the long, continuous word of musicianship, it's just harder to say. Isn't the brain an amazing thing? Anyway, today we are going to do something called note mapping. And this is not a defined term in music, this is just what I call it. Okay, so we're going to build on the first two lessons. The first lesson was the musical alphabet. The second one was half steps and whole steps. So it's important to understand those before you go on to this one. So if you take a look at my computer screen here, here's some charts that I've made that we will have available on the Woodsongs website under the lessons section, under my name, I suppose. It'll just be labeled supplemental material. You can download these. Okay, these are just going to be PDFs that I've made in Photoshop. And if you look at my screen, you're looking at the note mapping diagram for the guitar. And here we have one for mandolin. Here's one for ukulele. And one for banjo, and you'll notice the fifth string of the banjo is missing for now. So we're just starting with the D string and going up those four strings, because the fifth string is sort of a special case. We can talk about that later. So let me show you the orientation of these diagrams. So here's one of those diagrams. If I fold it in half, and we have two per sheet, okay, just for sake of, you know, if you want to, you're going to be using these sheets for other things besides this, so I would print out a bunch of them. But if I take this and fold it in half, so you're just looking at one diagram, this is basically, this is the guitar map, by the way. This is as though I'm holding the guitar in my hands and playing, okay? So this is my low E string. The nut of the guitar is up here, the tuning pegs are up here, and the body of the guitar is back here. So for example, with my mandolin, it's basically like that. If this were a guitar, which it is not, but it's a mandolin, it's still the same orientation. So it's like I'm looking down at the instrument with this diagram, okay? So let me show you what to do. Let's go back to, or let's go to the mandolin diagram. I'm going to fill in one string for you as an example, but you need to do these on your own. You can certainly download diagrams of these all over the internet. It's much more valuable though if you do it yourself, because if you fill in these boxes, you will learn it much more easily. So it's really important that you do the work. So I'm going to fill in the G string of the mandolin for you and show you what I want you to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the natural notes. We're not going to be concerned about sharps and flats. We're still just dealing with the musical alphabet, A through G. And if you remember from lesson 2, what are the two exceptions, the two adjacent letters in the alphabet where there's only a half step between them, meaning one fret on a fretted instrument? What are they? They're E and F and B and C. You have to memorize that. You got to get that rock solid. So if we look at the mandolin, the lowest string of the mandolin is a G, and the open strings are up here, okay? And I wrote them on the left for you. Okay. The next note in the musical alphabet going upward, ascending, what is it after G? What do we do when we get to G? We go back to A. What is the distance from G to A? It's a whole step, right? Because it's not one of those exceptions, E to F or B to C. Therefore, it's 2 frets. So if G is located back here, we skip this fret, the first fret, and here we fill in the A. Okay? That's simple. We're on A. What's the next note in the alphabet? B. How far is it? It's a whole step. It's not one of those exceptions. So I need to move that. Oops, sorry. I don't have this set up quickly. I need to go 2 frets higher to put my B in the 4th fret. Okay? And notice the fret numbers are marked down here just for reference. And I've got little stars on the 3rd, 5th, and 7th fret for all instruments. Okay, between B and what is the next note in the alphabet? C. Is it a half step or whole step? It is one of our exceptions. Therefore, it's a half step. Therefore, in the very next fret, I write in the letter C. Okay? Now, we're going to go up to the 7th fret. If you play mandolin or any instrument tuned in fifths, fiddle, violin, viola, cello, mando, cello, whatever, you want to do this up to the 7th fret on each string, okay? If you're playing guitar, ukulele, banjo, it's fine just to do it to the 5th fret for now. Eventually we'll go further, but for now, you want to go to the 5th fret on those instruments. Any instrument tuned in fifths, like the mandolin or the violin family, go up to the 7th fret. If you're wondering why that is, you'll discover why once you do this process and filling in these notes. Okay, so we're on C. Let me get back to my routine here. What's the next note after C? It's D. Is it one of those exceptions? No. It is, therefore, it is a whole step. So I go 2 frets from C to fill in my next alphabetical note, which is D. And that's all there is to it. So that's your job, is to fill out each string up to the 7th fret if you're playing mandolin or violin family instruments. If you're playing guitar, you really only need to go to the 5th fret, but of course you have more strings to deal with, and you want to fill in wherever those natural notes fall, okay? And that's really about all there is to it. And then from here, we'll go on and I'll explain to you what to do with this information where you actually start playing stuff. So there's really not much playing involved in this, but this is how we will learn to generate scales. And from scales, we will talk about how chords are built. And from there, a lot of mysteries about chords will be solved. And also we'll use this in improvisation. So that's something important in this series, by the way. Music theory, for the sake of theory by itself, is kind of worthless to me, at least. I suppose some people just maybe do it as a hobby and think about it a lot, but unless you put it into action and you actually use it in your playing, it's limited, it has limited value. So it's very important you put it into action, all this information, and we'll play some music with it down the road. Okay, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself.